That way they can see this afterwards if anyone is not able to make it. And I'm going to put everybody on mute.
Yeah, we're gonna be put on mute, Mom.
Oh, here's Kara. Here's Kara.
Kara's there?
Okay. Is not able to make it. And I'm going to put everybody on mute. Hang on.
Yeah, we're gonna be put on mute, Mom.
Oh, here's Kara. Here's Kara.
Kara's there?
You see there's a tape delay. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to see so many people here to remember Carol. It is, I would say, pretty surprising to me to be here. Not so terribly long after we buried her husband, Frank, just a couple of years ago. And we know that Josh and Ali and everyone here are filled with broken hearts. Is that a little better? Okay. But we are gathered together to offer our support to one another, to lift up Carol's memory and to bring comfort to each and every one of us who remember her together. Mourning is the price that we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be moralized in endless pain. The gifts of our spirit, of the loved ones that they gave us, cannot be measured or weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. So gathering here today to remember Carol, we join our hearts together to give strength and comfort to her family. Mourning is a time that is filled with so many emotions. We have the blessings of joyful memories, and we have the loss and the sadness that she is not there with us to celebrate the joys that will come. So we connect her memory with the millennia of Jewish tradition, with psalms and with stories. Start with a poem that I find particularly meaningful. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat. Until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. So it says in the book of Psalms, Mizmor David Adonai mi yagor b'ohalecha. God, who can dwell in your house? Who can dwell in your holy mountain? Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come back, and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Carol was someone who lived her life for other people. She lived her life for her family, for her friends. We know she enjoyed her sports. but she brought a spirit of possibility to those around her. She was so incredibly hardworking, which is why I opened with that first text, because our tradition teaches that the way we act in our business is really a statement of who we are and what our values are. What's important to us? How do we treat others when we are in a position to treat them well or not? And in her career and her work, she worked to ensure that everyone had what they needed to do it in a way that was just and fair. So I want to invite Josh or Ali, who wants to speak first? Oh, Ali's going to share a few memories.
Thank you all for being here, whether in person or on Zoom. It truly means a lot to see so much love for our mom. My mom was not only my mom, but also my best friend. As I'm sure you all know, she was the most amazing woman and could just do it all. I spoke to many of you after her passing, and I loved hearing how great of a friend she was and how much she impacted so many of your lives. My mom was the queen of thoughtfulness and truly the best gift giver. She would start birthday and holiday shopping over a year in advance. You could be having a conversation with her and randomly mention something that you wanted or needed, and the next day an Amazon package would be at your door. She was also basically a walking Google. I called her about everything, and I trusted her advice more than my own doctors, my own friends, anyone. My mom was the most selfless person I've ever known, always putting the needs of others above her own and always trying to motivate others to live their best lives. She dropped everything a few months ago to come take care of me after I had surgery and help out with my daughter, Kylie. Kylie had so much fun spending time with her grandma that week. My mom loved to mention how she looked forward to Kylie's teenage years, hoping that I would get a taste of karma for all that everything I put her through when I was a teenager. It's just so unfair that she will not be here to see that so much more as Kylie grows older. My favorite memories with her were our mother-daughter spa days at the Safety Harbor Resort. Most people would think that our favorite part was the massages and the facials, but it was actually that they allowed us to eat in the main hotel restaurant wearing just spa robes. We used to love all the crazy looks we would get from people wondering why we're eating lunch in such a nice restaurant, just wearing robes. Finding out that our mom had cancer and losing her to it in the same week has been incredibly tough to accept. However, during our preparations for today, the rabbi shared some comforting words that I also wanted to share with you. He mentioned that she was fortunate to pass early on in the cancer battle and be spared from the drawn-out pain of the disease and the treatment. Many of you know, most of you know that she would not have wanted that. So today, let's please remember my mom for the love, laughter, motivation, and kindness that she spread. She might be gone far too soon, but she most certainly left a mark on us all. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I know this weekend is tough to plan around with such short notice. It's really tough for many of you to get out here, but we really appreciate it. My mom would be impressed by how many of you made it out here. She left an unforgettable impression on everyone she met. I think we all know that she was not afraid to speak her mind. I remember many times when I had to remind her to turn on her Josh filter. One of the first meetings I had together with my mom and our corporate team, I think my face was bright red the whole time due to how blunt and pushy she was. I had snuck little sticky notes in front of her, asking her to tone it down. She slowly turned over and glares at me as I see her hand crumpling up each note that I wrote. After that, I realized I needed to prepare not only for the people I was meeting with, but also for my mom. I'm sure everyone here is well aware of how big of a sports fan my mom was. She had season tickets to the Bucks and Rays game ever since we moved to Florida. From the blistering heat of the 300 sections to being stuck under the cold AC vents at Tropicana Field, she knew nothing mattered more than her team winning. Of course, we were very spoiled once Brady came into that picture, too. I'm so glad that we got to experience many playoff games together. I'll never forget these great times we had. I'm going to miss those times so much, but I know she's up there with my dad and so many others that need her personality around them. But know this, Mom, all of us here will carry on your traditions, personality, and lack of filter. You know why? Because you are a part of each and every one of us. Sorry. You helped us realize that everything isn't by the book and to live the way we want. So guess what, Mom? That's exactly what we'll do. Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge Carol's sister, Linda, who is online with us today. I know she's glad that you're here with us. I'm going to ask you, for those who have the card, we'll say the 23rd Psalm together. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He has me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me on paths for righteousness for the sake of his name. Even though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You've anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for many long years. V'shavti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim, and dwell in that home. You know, Carol brought an energy and a spirit to everything that she did. And, while growing up in a differently Jewish environment than the one that Frank did, they found their balance together. And so her house was a house of God. It was a house of blessing, a house of joy, a house of family. And that was really the absolute most important thing to her, was the well-being of her family. אשת חיל מאמצע ברחמים מקרבתה בלב ושלב לא יסר כמלכותו ולא רק כל ימי חדש הצמר פישתים ותחש בהבט כפיך שקר החן והבל היופי איש היראת אדוני תתהלל תנולה מפריעתך והללוך ושרים מעשיך. In the book of Proverbs, King Solomon is said to have written, "A good wife who can find her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and nothing shall he lack. She renders good and not evil all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is robed in strength and dignity and cheerfully faces whatever may come. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. Her tongue was often guided by kindness. The message underneath there was kind. She tends to the affairs of her household and eats not the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her, as we were privileged to hear. And looking for. One of the blessings that Carol had was not only having a beautiful marriage with Frank for many years, but of finding Sheldon and of finding a partner to accompany her and to be with her and to lift her up on the days when things were hard. And she did the same for you, that together you found love. And it's not, not everyone has that opportunity. Not everyone has that opportunity once, much less twice. So I want to acknowledge the blessing that you have been for her and that she has been for you, as much as, we speak of Frank, because both of the men in her life were vital to her. The psalmist has written, weeping may tarry into the night, but joy comes in the morning. God, full of compassion, send your comfort to those who grieve and help them to dispel the sadness that accompanies the pain of their loss, to find joy in the precious memories of Carol. May your love, God, inspire them to focus on the love that they had for her and that she had for them. Help them to face the future with courage, to treasure Carol's wonderful legacy. Sustain us in our faith, God, even in this time of trouble, as you have sustained our people in trouble and sorrow throughout the generations. Praised are you, God, who supports us in these times. I ask, when I meet with a family, I ask them to tell me about their loved one. Carol, I had a little taste of because I got to hear her voice when we were remembering Frank. So, but she learned a few things since in her last years. And I was just so fascinated to hear about her Tai Chi and her Qi Gong. Did I pronounce that right? Okay. Of how she took the wisdom from those traditions and brought it into her life. But she didn't just want to bring it for herself. As she learned it, she did things the Jewish way and said, okay, if I've got something good, I'm going to share it. And so she became a teacher in this tradition and brought that wisdom that she was learning to so many others. These last couple months have been so challenging and just so shocking, from having COVID and then just not getting better and then discovering, this awful cancer that just took her far too quickly. But in all of the life before that, this is probably one of the few times where she allowed anyone to take care of her, because she was always focused on caring for others, whether it was bringing music into people's lives. And Allie said that, her taste in music, although she usually got the instrumental versions, was totally contemporary, and as much as she had, might used to at one point have listened mostly to opera, she now was listening to John Legend and Ed Sheeran in instrumental form that she'd play for her classes, that she just had such a sense of joy and could find that in all of you. And of course, in her granddaughter, Kylie, who was, just an infant when we had met the last time. The running joke between Josh and Allie was that each of them considered themselves her favorite, which seems very appropriate this particular week, because, in our Torah, we're in the book of Genesis, and we read, in the last few weeks about Abraham and Isaac, and then we read about Isaac and Jacob. And now we're hearing the story of Joseph, of Jacob's son. Now, Joseph was undoubtedly Jacob's favorite, but something happened along the way. And in this week and the following Shabbat, we read about Jacob's relationship with all of his children. And eventually, unlike Abraham and Isaac, who really just blessed one of their children, Jacob offers a blessing to each and every one of them, and even to his grandchildren, Ephraim and Manasseh, as well. And that, I think, is a lesson that Carol knew. That as much as there's a joking of favorites, she loved her children, full stop. There wasn't a favorite. There was a game of favorites. And that is a tremendous difference. But she shared that with her children, and I'm sure as their families form, that they will share that love with their children as well. She was somebody who, as she found maturity, learned to stress less. For a lot of people, as we age, we find more things to get stressed about. That was not Carol's way of doing things. She tuned out the negativity and found the glass half full, even when it was only a quarter full. She had a full social calendar. And Allie said, sometimes she would try to say, like, let's just, watch Netflix and hang out. And that was not something that Carol was really interested in doing. She wanted to get out and to be with people. I said, I guess that's the one lesson from meditation she hadn't picked up yet. Each week she lit candles. And Josh, even in the ICU, brought the Hanukkah candles in, brought the menorah so that she could have that light, whether or not she could fully appreciate it. We know that her neshama, her soul, appreciated it. And she was just such a hardworking person, as Josh mentioned. I don't know that I'd want to be on the other side of a deal with her, but she was going to make it. It was going to be a fair deal, even if she was going to fight to the end. And there, while they went on, vacations as a kid, their real joy as a family were the Rays and the Bucks. And having those tickets gave them an opportunity to be together as a family and to appreciate, the joy of living in the Tampa Bay area. And, even her other activities also were surrounded with sports, of going to the sports bar and watching the college bowl games and just seeing the energy of humanity and seeing the possibilities. She definitely enjoyed when the teams won, but it was not only about who won, it was really about the game. As they mentioned, it didn't matter if it was cold, didn't matter if it was hot. As long as she could see her teams play, she was there. And then, a special joy for her in recent times has been getting Kylie to go touchdown. We need a video of that later. So she was just a person who brought light and life into the tradition, into our world. And one of the ways I see that is in the way she motivated her kids to push themselves in their lives, not in a harsh way, but of saying, okay, coming to the house and saying, well, are you going to fix that kitchen up a little bit? Have you thought about this? I gave you some sunflowers. How are they doing? The sunflowers might have grown better at her house than theirs, but she, in sharing them, sunflowers for so many people are inspirational. They grow so incredibly tall and they open up with such a wide, bright face. And in many ways, that was her life. bringing color, bringing love, bringing joy, bringing hope, and a little bit of hard criticism once in a while, into the world around her. But so for all of us here, as again, I want to go back to our Parsha, go back to the Torah. The lesson that I see is bringing blessing to all of us, not only to the quote unquote favorite, but to all those around her. And that is something that she did incredibly well. So I'm going to ask you to rise. We're going to offer a prayer of mourning. I'm going to offer the El Malei Rachamim. And then we're going to take a few minutes. They're going to lower the casket. And then we will bury our loved one. And everyone that would like to participate is welcome to. All right. I usually use an actual book. I left it in the car, so I went to the digital one and it went the wrong way. Okay, here we go. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen B'Amramim, Hamsem Nucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashkina, V'Malot Kedoshim Teharim Zochia Masirim. Hold on, I had it right here. Sometimes paper is easier. Nishmat. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not finding her Hebrew name. What did we? Yeah. Okay. Hang on. It's in my text right here. Where'd it go? Okay, we're just gonna say Carol, and I'm gonna fix it in a minute. So, and what? Thank you. Nishmat Sipora Shalach Leolama Begarentem Nuchata V'Tzorarim and Nishmatan Nachlata V'Tanach V'Shalama Mishkava V'Nom Haramein. God of abundant mercy, God Most High, may the soul of our loved one, who is gone into eternity, find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold her close to you forever, so that her soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May she rest in peace, and may we say, Amen. So we'll lower the casket. And after they lower, I'll invite you to come. There are two sides. Just please be very careful because the ground is always uneven. And we will initially take the backside of the shovel to show our reluctance and our loss, but then we can turn it over to try to cover her coffin together to do this great mitzvah of offering our loved one. So ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is I'm gonna have you guys come stand over here. And everyone else, we're gonna start forming two lines that way. And once we're sort of formed, then we'll conclude the service with Kaddish, with prayer, praising God's name, even amidst the time of loss. I mean, one of the blessings and challenges in the Jewish tradition is that we acknowledge everything with a blessing. When we have joy, we say that God is the one, Tovu Meitiv, who brings goodness into the world. And in the time of loss, we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. We speak of God as the judge of truth. So we give thanks to God even in the time when we don't really want to. And so by creating this space after we say Kaddish, we show the family that there are so many that cared for Carol and will care for them as well. Yitzkadal, Yitzkadash, Shmei Rabba. Be'alma tifrach kerutei v'amlech malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei t'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agala u'b'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudsha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata damaran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'rama v'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. So may Tzipi bat Tzvi, may Carol, may her memory be a blessing for all of us here and for all who knew her. And we say to Josh and Ali and to all of the family, Hamakom Yenechem Etzem B'tok Sharav Leitzion V'Yerushalayim, and Linda and to Sheldon, that may the one who comforts you may the rock, the source, the place, bring comfort to you along with all of those in mourning in Zion and Jerusalem. I'll invite you to walk through. Yeah, I mean, we can, all four of you can go. There you go. Yeah. Oh, I don't think. Oh, sorry. What, am I not going to Okay. I've got it here. Wait. And all are invited back to 2837 Skimmer Point Drive South in Gulfport to gather together and support one another. So again, 2837 Skimmer Point Drive South in Gulfport, Florida. And to those of you who are online, if you guys wanted to just, because I am recording this, so if you just wanted to say, you know, a memory or something briefly, though they're not going to hear it now, but they can hear it later. I'll give this a couple minutes, okay?
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello. I'm Drew. I'm a friend of Carol's in Las Vegas, and I just want to share a moment. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, I once told Carol of an event going on that she watched on YouTube at her synagogue, where she grew up in Newburyport, Massachusetts. And people started talking about coming to Newport and people that they had met. And one person mentioned an older man in the shoe business that made them feel welcome in Newburyport. It turned out to be Carol's father, and Carol was just totally overjoyed to hear that YouTube session.
You're unmuted. Yeah, they can hear you.
I'm sorry. I was Carol's college roommate. So we met when we were 17 years old. We roomed together for 3 years and had many adventures and went to Europe together for 6 or 7 weeks when we were 20 years old. And I just remember her so fondly and just send my love to the family.
Hi, everybody. Carol went to school with my brother at Brandeis, and I was at Boston University, and that's how I met her. And we went out looking for guys, and that made her very happy. And we were best friends all through the years. We had our kids together, and we even got married at the same time. So I'm gonna miss my friend, one of my best friends. And she was always a confidant for me, and I was a confidant for her. And she was larger than life. There's no way she could be gone, but I know she's gone. And I will miss her terribly. And Allie, I love you, and Josh, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Very nice, Mom. Love you.
Okay. No, you weren't. You weren't.
This is Jennifer Rodney. I grew up with Carol and Frank and Allie and Josh. I've known them since I was in 3rd grade, and I'm 37. So they were best friends of our family for forever. And we would have Thanksgiving together every year. We didn't have much family in Florida, and so they were our family. And I just have so many beautiful memories with them. So I just thank Carol and all of them for being welcoming to us and welcoming us as basically family. And I just can't believe that this happened so fast. It's pretty unreal. So I just love her, and I love Allie and Josh, and I miss both her and Frank. But I'm very thankful that they were in our lives. We're very lucky. She's an amazing person, and they're Allie and Josh have her in them, and they're gonna carry on. She's carried on through them because they have so many qualities that she had. So
I'm stuck. You going, Sean?
All right, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm Stephanie Gay. I'm one of Carol's cousins and Frank's cousins. Carol was a remarkable human being. She was absolutely incredible. Not only, her and Frank are cousins, but she was my parents' best friends, her and Frank. And she ignited this spark in my parents when they go down to Florida every year. And she took them out to do all these crazy things. Every time I talked to my parents, they would be at a club or, in their 70s at clubs, at games. She convinced them to get tattoos at a tattoo festival. My parents would come over from Florida and just have all these crazy stories, but they loved it. And she brought so much life to my family and to my parents. And I will forever be grateful for that. And listening to all the amazing stories that my mom and dad would tell me, because she truly made a mark on our lives. And I'm forever grateful for her.
Okay, I'm Carol's sister, and so I've known her the longest. I used to babysit for her every Friday night. Kind of resented it sometimes because it meant I had to stay in. But our family had a shoe store, and my mother worked every Friday night. So that's where all the shoes come from. Sort of indoctrinated, I guess, from the shoes. But the thing I remember most about Carol when she's really little was all that curly hair. It was a short curly hair, and that seems to have disappeared over the years and became lots of colors and lots of interesting designs and things. But we're very different. But she was a really interesting person. I have to say that. And she's done a great job bringing up Allie and Josh. I'll miss her. That's it.
Okay, well, I thank you
And then
so
you took
much
the
for sharing your memory.
You turned off your
Was there one
camera.
more?
I did.
There you go.
Hi, I remember that Carol wore her sister's wedding gown at her wedding. That was a big thing because of all the little buttons. I mean, the buttons were the big topic of conversation that day. And can you hear me? And your mom and dad, I love them so much. They were fantastic. And your mom, she was very happy in Florida. And your dad was just so much fun and so lovable. And Carol, she was a light, and it's hard to put that light out. But I do remember the wedding gown with all the buttons.
I do. And one of my daughters-in-law wore that same dress.
Oh, really?
But she had a zipper put in and got rid of the button. The buttons were there, but they put in the zipper. So
she got smart.
She wouldn't have to button all the buttons.
Yeah, she got married in her living room in Massachusetts, but she really didn't like living there. She was so much happier in Florida, be in the sunshine every day. And we loved being with her, and we all bought lotto tickets so that we could come down and move there. We were also disappointed when we didn't win. I was sure we were going to win. And, I'm grateful for all the time we had with Frank. And Carol could not have been nicer to my girls. She was so good to them because Carol went to the University of Tampa and Carol went to all her shows and she was so good to her, to Kara, and all of us.
And me.
Julie, too. Julie.
I have lots of memories. I was little, though.
We used to stay at the house and Christmas time and a lot of memories. Whew, Frank was a great guy, too. Awesome guy. She was very proud of their relationship, and she should be. She should have been. And sorry she had to go so soon.
You want the baby.
And Allie, I'll see you soon. We're gonna come down and we're gonna see you. Whew.
I'll come to you.
I think so. Sharing your story. I wish you all only positive memories. Can play as you think of them. Just send an email, send a text, send them out. But I wish you all shalom.
That's it.
Thank you for this lovely service. It was very nice.
You want me to test it?
Josie, we're leaving.
You can do it anytime.
You want to be the last one?
Okay. Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Sharon, be well.
This is